Over to you.
Hi, and welcome to Sebastian Vote 2010. I'm your host, Debbie Carson, online editor for VeroNews.com. And here with me today is Sebastian City Council candidate Damien Gilliams. Welcome, Mr. Gilliams.
Well, thank you, Debbie, for having me.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us and answer a few questions for our viewers. And our first question has to do with the Archie Smith Fish House. As I'm sure you're aware, the Board of County Commissioners recently allocated $45,000 to improve the aesthetics for the fish house. Of course, more would need to be done in order to fully rehabilitate the site, bring it up to code, make it habitable for our business to move in. What are your thoughts on if the city or the county should put more money into rehabilitation, or should it basically just be left as is?
Well, it's a very good question, Debbie. As you know, I've been going to the council meetings for the past 10 years, missed very few. Been going actually for 25 years, but seriously, the past 10 years. And I had brought that to the city council's attention a while back. If you check the minutes, when we were redeveloping, doing the CRA down there and the waterfront, I was on the waterfront committee as well. When the county did the acquisition on that, they never had a business plan. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you remember, they were going to purchase the Captain Butcher's property as well, and they left that on the tax rolls. But, you know, that's government for you. It's a boondoggle. What it is was they had so much money in the $50 million bond that they just couldn't wait to spend it. And those are your results. You know, they quickly to spend the money, but yet not have a business plan and implement something in the long term. And the sad part is, it's right there in our riverfront district, and the council were busy trying to be obstructed with my business, and instead of concentrating on the dilapidation of other existing structures down there, they overlooked it. And this is why we need change. We need different leadership at City Hall this time.
And since you've been going to the council meetings for as long as you have, I'm sure you're aware they've kept the Sebastian City Council has kept the property tax rates about the same over the last few years. And they've made some cuts to spending in order to keep the balance, or to keep the budget balanced. Some have suggested that the property tax rate might have to increase next year in order to keep the same level of service and keep the budget balanced. What are your thoughts on that possibility?
Absolutely not. You know, the first thing we need to do is have some fiscal responsibility as far as putting the checkbook. I've been an advocate for getting the city checkbook on the internet, so that all 15,000 registered voters have an opportunity at any time to go on to Sebastian.org, the website, and see what kind of discretionary spending is going on. And what I mean by discretionary spending, the city manager has the authority to spend without council approval anything under 15,000. And it would be an eye-awakener. The city of Palm Bay does it now. They've already implemented it, so it's not like it's not attainable. So that would be the first thing. The other thing, as far as the budget goes, I had an opportunity to meet with all the department heads just last week, and with the city manager, Al Minner. I want to thank Al for allowing me to do that, because that took up half of his day. And I had a chance to go over their budgets, their wants, their needs, and get a feel for what's really going on in City Hall. I don't think any of the other candidates have taken that time to meet with each department head. And there are ways to cut the budget now. And the way to do that is to consolidate. You know, when the building permits building department is an enterprise fund. And when they're not bringing in the revenue that they need to carry their department, they're cutting into the reserves. And eventually, it's been running at a negative of $100,000 a year, if I'm not mistaken. What I would like to see done is take the building department and growth management department and consolidate them. In essence, that's a way of saving the taxpayer money and being more efficient. And you know, like the city of Fellsmere does, they contract out their engineering site plans. They don't have a lot of them coming through. I had a chance to speak with Rebecca Grohol, the Director of Growth Management. They don't have many site plans in the pipeline. So, in essence, there's a lot of people there sitting around looking for things to do. So that's just one area I would focus on. The other areas, the Public Works Department, Jerry Converse, who does an excellent job in running it, he has indicated to me at that meeting also that he can also consolidate some other areas. Contracting out the garage services to private enterprise. So that's another area. The police department, I met with the Chief Morrison, and she had indicated that, the city's largest part of the budget is the police department. I don't know if many people know that, but it's approximately $4.6 million of a $22 million budget. And, out of the general fund, it's approximately around $10 million. And if I'm not mistaken, $9 million of that is personal services. So I think there could be some areas in the police department. We're going to have to go across the board, all departments. I think there is some savings there. And, I think a big part of keeping the millage rate in check was because Damien Gilliams was at every meeting.
And I have one last question for you, and it has to do with the waterfront area. Aside from improving parking opportunities within the city's redevelopment area, what more could the city do, or what more should the city do to attract businesses to the waterfront district?
Very good question, Debbie. Because you know that the business is the prime engine of most communities when it comes to creating jobs. And for people to come to our community and shop and spend money, they must be able to get into a business where it's very easily accessible. And that's been a problem for many years down there. And if you go back to the records, I've always advocated changing the parking, only because I tried to do developments down there, and the city fought me personally because I guess I was always down there screaming about the higher taxes and about the old city hall when they built that, and they were $4 million over budget. I hope my viewers out there don't forget that, because Mr. Hill, who is a candidate again, he was part of that. And if you go back to the records, and I brought the minutes with me, and I can give you the dates and times if you go to sebastian.org, you can see for yourself that I was an advocate for creating parking, parallel parking, backing out parking on Indian River Drive. I was an advocate for purchasing the old Walmart property. The city's talking about, let's build a new city hall. I mean, not a new city hall, but a new community center. They had an opportunity to purchase the old Walmart right next to their boat ramp, and a consultant told them they should purchase it, but because they didn't want to pay a professional fee to a realtor, Damien Gilliams, they stuck their head in the sand. So that would alleviated the parking at the 512 boat ramp, because that is a catastrophe. They don't have vision. That's a catastrophe 5, 10, 15. I see it 20 years down the road. With that one little boat ramp, you're not going to be able to egress and egress the trailers and have a place to put them. Now they're talking about the new boat fund that they just created, and they passed the ordinance about purchasing parking spots for approximately $3,200 apiece. There's a tenant, there's a property owner who's bought a piece of property that I owned, but the city gave me a hard time when I needed parking for my tenant and for a liquor license, and they would not work with me at the time. But as soon as Damien was out of the picture, they opened up the floodgates. They didn't make the ordinance for that particular tenant. They did it for the whole riverfront, because they knew that what they did to me was wrong, and they had to figure out something to accommodate all the people that need additional parking down there. So there's so much I can offer. I hope that the city voters give me an opportunity to show what I can do. And I promise the ones that don't like me, I will win them over eventually.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us
I hope and I answered all your questions too.
We'll let the viewers be the judge of that come November.
Well, thank you for having me, Debbie.
Thank you very much, and we wish you and all other candidates the best of luck.
Thank you again.
Thank you.